This is the North Korean Journal by former Monty Python member Michael Palin. This is not how to read a book. But unless if you watch bad movies like I did this decade, it sure does help. Hello, my name's Elijah Wells, and today the list is top worst movies of the decade, including one worst movie that I saw in 2019, because I only saw one movie I did not like in 2019. But anyways, let's get on with it. Maybe banging a book of the former Monty Python member Michael Palin may be a good idea if you watch bad movies, but don't do it at home. But anyways, the honourable mentions are the Top Cat movie and 2013's Epic. Now let's go on to number 10. Number 10, I'm starting this one low because I know a lot of people really hated it, but I'm kind of thrown a tad out of a loop with this one. But number 10 is The Last Airbender. The film directed by M. Night Shyamalan. This movie was, it's boring! This movie, I remember like less than 2 hours, but it felt like a Lord of the Rings movie. The pacing of the film just felt like a Lord of the Rings movie. That is not exactly a good thing, unless if it's like the later films where the pacing does really pick up. The movie got a heap of criticism, mainly for whitewashing Asian characters for Caucasian people, because white people! And to make things worse, the names of the characters that were based off the television series Avatar Last Airbender were mispronounced. And just to suck the soul out of me, the movie is just so predictable at best. It follows I never really watched the series, so if I'm really describing it wrong, this movie was kind of it's not really an introduction, because I knew about the series around the time when the film came out. I was like, I never really got into the series, but I think I've watched like an episode, but I'm not a fan of it per se, but I am down to watch an episode of it. But my word, this movie's not boring, it's predictable. It follows like every fantasy cliche ever, like the chosen one is found, he talks to his dragon mentor, the enemy comes to a village and wipes out them all, and he fights with the enemy, he gets captured by the enemy. He thinks he feels down, but a bit of confidence, he's now a hero again, and he must fight him off. Then the villain gets really even, or gets more advantage. Then he shows he's the chosen one, and we've seen it before. It's boring, boring. But as I said, it was just really a phase that M. Night Shyamalan was in when he made pretty bad movies like Lady in the Water, Happening, and Afterworth. But he did pick up the pace with The Visit and The Split, which I really like, and Glass, which everyone had mixed opinions about. But I like Glass, but nothing can compare to Sixth Sense. That was a great film. I'm starting this one low because I knew this is considered from the Avatar The Last Airbender, where it's considered one of the best animated TV shows of all time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what a lot of people say, because what's the point of remaking was often considered by a lot of people as one of the great TV animated shows ever. Unless if you want to create a new experience, could be explored more, or, to put it bluntly, could be done better, which M. Night Shyamalan clearly did not do in this boring, and often sluggishly pasted at best. Number 9, and the worst film of 2019, is Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Man, that was the most soul-crushing disappointment I had to go through this year. Like, that was more painful than a brain freeze. Like, man, you had like 5 years to get this right and you managed to screw it up. What is the science behind that? It was mainly had possibly the most nonsense plots ever. Basically, where a group of eco-terrorists plan to wipe out all humanity so they can waken all these ancient beings and monsters, and Godzilla must fight them off in Boston, Massachusetts. And there's Millie Bob Browning, or Eleven from Stranger Things, who's just there just to relieved the pain at best, but my word, this movie was agony. Like, I wanted to rip my hair out after watching it. Just the thought of that film, just woo. I think Millie Bob Brownie's the mother of Millie Bob Brownie's character was just the cherry on top of just how silly this movie can get. Where like it's for the greater cause of humanity, it's for the greater good, and she's been literally kidnapped by these eco-terrorists, or how I describe as Extinction Rebellion if they're recruited by Al Qaeda. Like seriously, she sounds. I'm not sure if she has Stockholm syndrome or severely brainwashed. Like okay, I'll kill off half of humanity at best. Like look, you're joining an eco-terrorist that want to kill off much of humanity. Like this does not make any sense. The motive doesn't make sense. The action, although impressive, is kind of badly lit and somewhat all over the place at best. Like, and it's kind of filled with generic cliches in disaster movies, like a divorced parent, they lost a loved one, they're recruited by the government, and somehow this really smart and hip kid solved everything for them, and it's somehow linked to their home place in Boston, Massachusetts. Like, man, this is like filled with cliches to a whole new level. Like, I'm kind of skeptical now seeing this when coming to Kong vs. Godzilla. Like, please, you have like until Christmas next year to get it right, or Christmas 2020. Like, please get it right, because that movie was just a headache to just go through. Number 8 is Pacific Rim Uprising. From one infamously botched sequel to another infamously botched sequel. Like, oh my word, this one was just a car crash. Although, compared to number 9's Godzilla King of Monsters, I had a lot of anticipation for this movie. Like, just how beautiful these trailers look, and the music, and the editing, until the plot just revealed just a bunch of nonsense. For number 8, I was already filled with skepticism, because Guillermo del Toro is no longer directing it, Charlie Hunnam is no longer involved, because he was working on different projects, Idris Elba was killed off, and Ron Perlman doesn't even get a mention in this movie. Like, he survived a post-credit scene. Like, what on earth is going on? And of course, the backstream drama it was a back and forth through Universal and Warner Brothers. It was cancelled, then it was going ahead, then it was cancelled. It was kind of a development hell until it came out and people kind of forgot about it. Like, oof. The two sidekicks from the original movie, one of them is an antagonist now. Everyone was like, oh, come on. You can't be serious. Like, the two comic reliefs, and you made him an antagonist in this film. Like, what are you doing? It's like making a live action sequel to Lion King and make Toomba an antagonist. It just makes no logical sense. And also, the movie just wants you to care about these new characters, but you're so attached to the original that they didn't bother to put any chemistry or care into them. Like John Boyega's character and that little girl have the most non-existent chemistry. I mean, the chemistry that is like water and oil that chemistry is zilch. I'd rather be like punched in the face by a Jaeger robot than actually have to sit through this movie. Like, whoa, that movie. And also, I forgot that it takes place in Japan. Yay! Another bad tourism ad for Japan. Woo! That movie was a forgettable stinker at best. Rather like Pacific Rim 2, where it just tripped on the second installment, this franchise, we'll just say, it's been slowly dying until kind of recently we can confirm it's most likely dead by now. Unless if it isn't, God must be really hating us by now. For number 7 is Ice Age Collision Course. Like, I felt like Gordon Ramsay from Kitchen Nightmares. I felt like I was cringing and questioning my life decision when watching this movie. I was like, oh my word. Take a breath. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Like, how dumb is this movie? Should I call it that, or a direct-to-video sequel that Blue Sky's like, who cares, just put in a great big screen, like I care. Like, I don't think there's really any care in this movie anymore. Like, seriously, this felt more like a Land Before Time direct-to-video sequel than an Ice Age cinematic movie. It's like, this movie kind of felt so stupid at parts. Like, this is like so filled with like supporting characters, and they're all attached to each other. It's like they went from Avengers to the final battle scene to Endgame. It's like all in one movie. Imagine that. Seriously, the characters either just stand there, or they're just a love interest, or they just do nothing more just to make the movie go longer and more painful. So yes, Manny's daughter's getting married. Yay! I'm single. I don't care. But unfortunately, a meteorite's coming and might destroy all life on Earth. Yay! End this franchise, please! Like, woo! The animation at best is a little bit more flimsy at best. Like, the Bucks really rushed opening scene. Felt more like it was done in front of a green screen. I know it's like all done by CG animation, but I had a feeling like I can see this being like done on CG, like on a green screen. Like he's not moving, but background is like it does look like that in sync. Like the main antagonists, like I said, are so forgettable. Like, even telling me on their names or their designs, like I would easily mistaken them for like Land Before Time villains. Like, they're just so forgettable at best. And the ending where somehow they blew away the meteorite with a volcano. No why, no how, just they can. That's a special level of I don't care anymore. And it's also that really flamboyant llama that does yoga practices that just stands there, just makes it pain out everything. This movie's kind of like that. It's kind of like pain kicking at you the whole way through. Kind of like the elevator scene from Drive, but Ryan Gosling's character is Ice Age Collision Course. Like, man, this is painful to sit through. Now time for a quick pantomime show of what's like watching Number 6 Century. These are my shoes, and down here is my crotch. This was like watching Terminator Genesis. Like, seriously, does the writer and director of this movie really like the first two? Like, they give me the impression they really hated the original two. And like, you know what? Let's make a movie that's not just a reboot, but completely disses on the first two, even though they're apparently the two greatest movies ever made, you know. But I hate them, you know. But you know what? Let's remake it because I don't care. Seriously, what's the problem? Like, these are the two of the greatest action movies ever made. And you make a franchise that opens up killing these two? Like, do you have problems or something? And also, Emilia Clarke does the most unconvincing Sarah Connor in mankind's history. I feel like, I think she's now the franchise kiss of death after Game of Thrones and Solo, Star Wars story. Like, ow. And this movie just throws a lot of stuff without any explanation of why and how. Like Jason Connor is now a Terminator for some reason. That the original Terminator was killed off for some reason. The modern day Terminator came back in from the 880s Terminator for some reason. The original Terminator saved Sarah Connor in the original timeline for some reason. This movie's the whole thing of, it's in a world of for some reason. It doesn't even bother giving an explanation why and how. Just, we can. Although I give some credit to Jason Clarke, who's at least trying in this film. At least he's giving a damn about this film. Like, okay, this is not your movie. Just go back to Zero Dark 30, please. I like doing that. Just, how can you not care? How did you care so little for this franchise? And it translated into this abomination of this movie. Just, how the scientific explanation can explain that. And also it has the most, it didn't really take any risk at all, or it played everything so safe. Like, there wasn't really any gore in this movie, no bloody violence, not a lot of sexualized imagery, and not a lot of cursing at best. And a lot of it just recycled. It just feels so throwbackish at best. All in all, it just copied the first two. Like, I'm going to make it a better one, and I won't include you in the credits. Like, how did you not care about the... This gave me impression, just... Why did you make it in the first place? All in all, Terminator Genesis, it was more of a... If Genesis was the first chapter in the Bible, then it was really Terminator Revelations, because we never got to see any more from that franchise. Then it was rebooted again to Terminator Dark Fate, which was okay, but kind of forgettable at best. If not caring about a franchise was one thing, what about not caring for the audience? In the same year where Leonardo DiCaprio bit through bison liver, suffered hypothermia and was subject to freezing cold weather, the same year when Mad Max made a gloriously loud, colourful and beautifully choreographed practical comeback being Fury Road, when Sia released a beautifully choreographed yet controversial and beautifully acted Elastic Heart, Fantastic Four said in 2015, you know what, let's be the most boring, let's be the most dull, let's be the most slow paced, let's be the most anticlimactic and the most unrewarding and the least paid off movie, not just of the year, but possibly of the decade. I felt like this was the pitch meeting of this movie. I felt like, how the hell? This is like the Fire Festival if it became a movie. Like, this movie felt like a scam at best. Like, how? Like, seriously, there was like, in the trailer, and in the print and the posters, there was like destruction in the city, and there's action in the military base, and there's action here, action there, and guess what? There's the most awful action scene in mankind history, where all the action only takes place in the last 10 minutes of the film, in the most obvious green screen of the decade, and it may exist of punching and pushing and telekinesis. Like, who choreographed this stuff? Like, was it a person from primary school at best? Like, you're too young to do this. Okay, this may sound blasphemous at best, but imagine the Raid. But this time, shrink all the violence down to 5 minutes, remove all gore and graphic imagery, and water the violence down to punching and shoving and telekinesis, and only insert the rest of the movie with dull, boring dialogue and conversation scenes in dark rooms no one cares about. You got Fantastic Four. Like, this was originally a vision of Josh Trank to make a fantastic version of this film you'll probably never see. That's actually word for tweet when he disowned the film days before its release. Like, holy cow, like, how, what was Fox thinking? What mindset? Well, this was a good idea. Like, Josh Trank, who directed Chronicles, like, why did you eviscerate this vision to something this laughably lame at best? Like, the fight scenes are boring, the acting is wooden, the script is boring and drawn out at best, and the ending is the most poor payoff in mankind history. It tries to be dark, edgy, and agile, and hit with the kids, and it's kind of like Steve Buscemi's character from 30 Rock when he tried to hang up these kids with his skateboard and his top hat backwards. I felt like, what were they on? Like, were they on hallucinogenics when they thought about this? Like, what? And it's all set in like dark rooms. Like, seriously, who was high when they thought this was a good idea? Like, you know, Josh Trank's original version, it's just rubbish. Now, let's make it even worse by having more dialogue saying, I shouldn't be smoking my invisible cigarette, but anyways, have some boring, dull action scenes that take place in an obvious green screen room in 5 minutes, consist of shoving and pushing and telekinesis, and some pretty unlikable characters. The characters in this movie that you're meant to root for are either depressing, boring, or just straight up unlikable. And they have literally the most non-existent chemistry. I mean, if you thought Pacific Rim Uprising's character of John Boyega and that little kid was bad, this one had, each four of them have the most non-existent chemistry. Like, they can't bounce off of each other. But what I can say is, thank God, Michael B. Jordan went on to be involved in one of the best superheroes of the decade, being Black Panther. Thank you, Michael B. Jordan. You may not be a basketball player, but yeah, thank you for your apology piece. That was Black Panther. For number 4, it was 2014 where cinema really got out of its comfort zone, like Birdman, Boyhood, Grand Budapest Hotel, and Tale of Princess Kaguya and Nightcrawler pretty much go into new and somewhat more terrifying, more bolder territory that was never previously explored before. And show, yeah, again, how good cinema can be and how human the characters can be. And for Michael Bay, it was Transformers Age of Extinction, a movie that felt more like a punch in the face than anything else. Like, this movie at best feels more like a bad China advert, like a bad tourism ad for China or Hong Kong. Like, seriously, how hard can you suck? Like, Michael Bay said, yes, I will suck. Yay, I'm a changer. Like, at this time without Shia LaBeouf because he picked up a bad project being Elastic Heart that came out a year later, like, and he was replaced by a very unlikable Mark Wahlberg who just yells and says, I'm an inventor. And he's from Texas and I don't care. Moving on. Like, this movie even made me care so little or just want me to punch Michael Bay in the face after I watched it. I felt like, how on earth people still care about this franchise anymore, considering this came out, like, knowing that The Last Night bombed in the box office, knowing that Bumblebee, although it did critically well, did way less than what people predicted in the box office. Like, Michael Bay just completely shot it in the head like Childish Gambino and that man in This Is America. Like, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. Like, this is like a whole level of bad. Like, the acting is wooden, the characters are so unlikable, the script is filled with plot holes and filled with some of the most insane errors known to man. Like, they want to, like, capture all Transformers after the Battle of Chicago, yet somehow they team up with a Transformer that wants to collect him for himself. Like, who's calling the shots here? Like, either the Hunter Transformer or the human characters. Like, none of this is making sense. And then it becomes an advert. Like, you like music, Beats by Dre, and you like Oreos, Oreo vending machine. This film felt like a bad advert. It should be like in a clip of a movie that satirizes America. Because this movie tries to be like, America, FD, yeah. Like, oh my word, this... I can only describe like 2 people that actually are still watching it. Like, a 12-year-old who really refuses to let go of the past and is in complete denial about today's better films, or a man-child from I don't know, in America who probably now has like 3 or 2 divorces to his name already. Like, no, I want to watch Transformers. I felt like, like, the action scenes are so boring and so confusing, and like I don't know the motives anymore. I don't know what's the objective of the fights anymore. Like, it's so all over the place. It's so poorly done. It's so poorly edited. It's just, what's going on anymore? Is there any thought, any care put in this franchise anymore? I feel like Michael Bay's like, I'm making Transformers movie, this time in China. Okay, here's your money. Thank you, I'll waste it. Like, oh my word, just how on earth can you make a franchise that started off so promising and make it suck this hard? Like, the supporting characters I don't care about. Mark Wahlberg's character is so unlikable. The villain's motives make absolutely no sense and create massive plot holes. And the fight scenes are just so boring and long and confusing. All in all, This was the moment the heart got ripped out of Transformers and was eaten like a bison liver by Leonardo DiCaprio. Something touched me deep inside the day. Michael Bay's reputation died in the ding. So bye bye Michael Bay's reputation. How the hell did you suck in 2014? And for number 3 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Unfortunately, it did not have Don McLean's cover of American Pie. Although I wish this could happen. Seriously, that movie somehow made Age of Extinction look like an Oscar contender in comparison. Like, you could not get any worse than Age of Extinction, and somehow Michael Bay did. Although he did not direct the movie, he produced it, and was involved in reshoots. Like, oh my word, you were bad this year. Were you, like, trolling the film industry or something? Like, what on earth were you thinking when you signed up to this? Now, let's go to the mocap of the film, where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles look like Shrek if they had plastic surgery to look like Woody Harrelson and were jacked up on steroids. Like, how? They look hideous. Good thing they were hidden in the background for Ready Player One because I don't want to see them in my face. Like, how hard did you suck in this one? Like, the script is one of the worst scripts I have had my ears lent to. Like, how could you suck in this one? Like, the script is awful. The effects are cringy. The jokes fall flat every single time. The humor is stupid. The acting, particularly of Megan Fox, is appalling. The direction is kind of predictable at best. And the score is filled with generic nonsense. Like, how on earth did he top the badness of Age of Extinction? Like, this movie has a lot of questions. Like, was it like the Mel Brooks movie, The Producers, where you set out to make a film that was intentionally bad and somehow make it a success some way or another? Like, a movie that was intending to be bad. Like, this is what I saw Michael Bay doing. Like, he was in his producer's mode. Like, I want to make a movie so deliberately bad that I'm going to make money out of it. Like, how? Although that so-called the producer's experiment went well, like, this movie had everlasting consequences. Like, Michael Bay's reputation after 2014 was severely damaged since a lot of his films bombed, and he's now on Netflix with Six Underground. Megan Fox couldn't even get a film since then, probably for insulting Michael Bay in the Revenge of the Fallen. And Will Arnett just mainly stuck to, like, voice work and show dogs, which no one watched unless you heard something about the news. And the movie had a sequel that bombed horribly, and a third installment got scrapped. Like, this movie, I wasn't sure what Michael Bay was on when he greenlit this movie, but this movie had, like, everlasting consequences. Like, sheer volumes of it. Like, the acting was so bad. Like, particularly the Turtles, I didn't, even though I kind of watched it as a kid, when I mean kind of, like, watched, like, a couple episodes, like, okay. And, yeah, it kind of goes from there. Until I've watched it, like, you just relegated them to some reptile Woody Harrelson Shrek I don't really want to care for. Like, would you want them, the design of them on t-shirts or on a Funko Pop? Like, who greenlit this design? The guy who did the Sonic and Cats? Like, who, seriously? Like, this movie just raised so many questions and gave me even more when I finished watching it. It's not a, like, it's meant to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, not a documentary on Scientology. Like, how bad, like, seriously. Sorry. This movie is just coming back to me like a PTSD attack. Like, I can't talk about this movie anymore. I need a nap. I need a nap, and I'm going to bed, and nothing you can do, so suit yourself. I'm going to sleep, so I get this thing out of my head. Is it okay now? Is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles no longer a thing? Okay. let's carry on. Deep breath. Now let's go on to number 2. Oh. It's the really repugnant Jack and Jill. Like, thank you Adam Sandler for making Uncut Gems, and thank you Al Pacino for The Irishman. Like, thank you Katie Holmes for your career's ruined. Nothing can save this. And thank you Johnny Depp, who has a minor role in this film. Your career's now destroyed, and no one will cast you in the 2020s. And thank you David Spade, and I only like doing Emperor's New Groove. Bye. Like, any reputation that's in this film, like actor's reputation, expect him to be wrecked like a wrecking ball in the Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball. Like, how this movie, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I swear it was done to be deliberately bad. Like, so bad it swept the Razzies. Like, how would one say, like the Titanic, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and and Ben-Hur sweep the Oscars. It is the badness of this film is legendary. Like, oh my, it's now been like a punchline in a joke for much of a decade. But thankfully, the jokes kind of faded out once the respected actors appeared in Uncut Gems on Irishman. Like, whew. Let's go back in the film. The movie consists of Adam Sandler in 2 roles, a whiny, nasally man, and a whiny, nasally man in drag, and it consists of fart jokes and product placements. Like, man, this is trolling taken too far. Even Arthur Fleck from the Joker would see this like, I know my comedy is in bad taste, but seriously, this comedy is in bad taste just how poor the jokes are, not in taste but quality. Like, I can see Arthur Fleck from the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's character. I felt like, I want to question my life now. Like, this is bad and annoying. Like, I swear, imagine like Terry Jones's impressions in Monty Python, but on high pitch, like, egg, bacon, spam, sausage, and spam. Baby, spam, spam, egg, baby. Jill sounds like that. It gets really on your nerves. Like, please stop. Please. Like, how? Why? Although it was this, around the same time he made That's My Boy, that really did way more damage than it should to his career. Like, whoa. Like, the acting is awful, direction is hideous, the writing is tremendously horrid, and the characters range from annoying to an irritation like a parasite in your brain. Like, up there. Like, a really special level of irritating. Like, the characters and just any humour, either it falls flat or it just goes on to the point it feels like drawn out. Like, I swear the extras looked like they were held hostage into this movie. Like, you stay here until they pay the ransom, but in the meantime, appear in my movie about me and drag. In the same decade where we have some great LGBTQ movies like Moonlight, Judy, and Blues the Warmest Color, I swear this one was like, you know what? Let's really smell on this reputation. If it like the Babadook has a really surprising reputation within the LGBT community, imagine this one was like a full-on insult to the LGBT community, or trying too hard that anyone from my community is like, no, too patronizing, no, 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 and the homophobes are like, no, 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 too patronizing for our stupidity, no. I felt like this movie united everyone around the world, just how bad it is. Now, we have made it. The black hole of stupidity, the gravity-defying thing of dumb, and the inescapable thing known as inconsistent and filled with plot holes. It is a movie so bad that when it premiered in like countries of like South Korea and Europe, it got pulled from America and turned into a direct-to-video. That bad, and it's Space Chimps too. Like, how unspeakable, like inconceivable. Like, this movie is on its own level of dumb. Like, how? The story is, if you watch the first film, it's kind of bad, but not on a level bad that you want to rage at. Just on a level bad where you're like, I'm going to forget about this, like, 2 days. Yeah. But when I saw this, I have lost, my face was like, like a kid losing his innocence when he entered a strip club. That level of, oh, no, no, no. Like, oh my word. I can't start, I don't know where to start how bad this movie is. Like, I want to start off with the film's, like, amazing list of plot holes. Like, for example, it takes, like, something like 10 minutes to get to the other side of the solar system, even though it takes, like, months or even years to do that, even though I don't know loads about space, because space is confusing. And a pothole, which is, that links their universe to Kilowatt's universe, well, that's one of the side characters, is in this other side of the galaxy, yet later on in film, it's plopped right next to Earth. Even though this is somehow not a danger to Earth, and somehow should one of the chimps like go there in the first place. And to top it all off in the level of I don't care, they literally have the main antagonist, Zogtog, literally go through NASA's building. No security check, no alarms, he just literally got through to control room. Now that's a special level of I do not care about the audience. It's so amazing how little it cares for the audience. Like, the CG animation is appalling, the writing is hideous, the jokes never even try to be funny, the characters are insufferable idiots, and it has so many inconsistencies, so much amazing plot holes that you are questioning your humanity after this. Like, how is one of the chimps and Kilowatt sharing a Skype camera even though we don't know what Kilowatt is viewing it off? Like an iPad or a computer or something? It doesn't know, it never gets an explanation. Like, this movie is so rushed and so bad in so many places. Like, it never even tries to begin with. Like, holy cow, like, no one put effort into this? Like, were you proud of what you done? Like, who said, like, oh, this is good enough, next scene? Like, why? Like, this is not good enough. You need to treat your audience like with respect. But anyways, Space Jam 2, worst film of the decade. After watching so much bad movies, it's time for me to